first thing I'm going to do is send my condolences to the family members of the victims in this situation. At approximately 3:37 today, in the 1200 block of West Thorndale, there were 3 individuals, all juveniles ranging between the ages of 15 to 16, walking. There was a vehicle that pulled up. Several individuals got out of that vehicle and fired weapons in the direction of these individuals, striking all 3. At this time, one of the juveniles has expired. One is in critical condition. The other one is stable with a gunshot wound to the leg. This is a tragic incident. They were both, all 3 were CPS students. Tomorrow, we'll make sure that we have victim services out to the school to talk to the students. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Johnson, and we'll take questions at the end. Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Superintendent Snelling. The city of Chicago continues to grieve, and our hearts are heavy as these tragic shootings happen too often. And as we grieve and mourn the loss of not just this one individual, but other individuals in this city who have lost their lives due to the senseless gun violence, we hold our hearts and our grief close. The loss of life is horrific under all circumstances, but it is especially harsh when our young people are targeted. As a parent, as parents across the city, we do everything in our power to keep our children safe. So this hurts, and I know our city is hurting. The individuals who are responsible for this kind of violence, it has to end. The harm and the chaos and the trauma that's being caused by individuals who do not value life. The full force of government will be used to bring those individuals to justice. Whatever conflict, whatever pain that you are expressing, this is not the way to do it. The loss of life is tearing at the fabric of this city. We need everyone to work with our community members, with law enforcement, to put an end to this senseless violence. And to the students, to the families who are grieving today and have been grieving, the Office of the Mayor, as well as our police department, will provide services for all those who wish to receive those services. The only way we're going to get through this, Chicago, is if we work together. All of us. These tragedies cannot continue. The faith community, the business community, our police department, all of us working together to put an end to this horrific pain that we have endured for too long in this city. But we also have to be very clear about getting at the root causes of violence, ensuring that there's mental health services, that there are good paying jobs. There's no excuse for violence. There's also no excuse for communities being underserved and underinvested. So again, our hearts are heavy. But I have confidence in our superintendent and our police department and the Office of Community Safety, our Deputy Mayor Gary Gatewood. And I have confidence in the city of Chicago that we can come together once and for all to put an end to the horrific tragedy caused by gun violence. With that, we'll take questions.
We heard reports that there were.
Fashion. Can we start left and right, please?
Wondering about a motive at this point.
At this point, that's been investigated. However, we do believe that the three individuals were targeted.
We heard reports from witnesses that there were children or other teens who had jumped in to perform CPR and life-saving measures right when this happened. Do you have any of that information? And were these sent high school students?
That I don't have the information on. I know that the students were a couple blocks away from the school. We'll get back to you on that information.
Mayor Johnson, this being the second shooting involving teenage students in Chicago this last week, what's your message to parents tonight worried about sending their kids to school tomorrow?
Well, I'm a parent. I'm sending my kids to school tomorrow. We're not going to allow this tragedy to disrupt our lives in Chicago. Look, our hearts are heavy. We're grieving. And as I said, as a parent, no parent should have to bury their child. And the provocation that leads to this type of violence, we have to put an end to. And I'm committed to that. But what I can say to every single parent is what I'm saying to my wife, that we have to work together. We have to work together to get at the root causes of violence, but we also have to work with our police department to bring these violent individuals to justice. But we're not going to allow these acts of terror to disrupt our livelihoods. My children will be in school tomorrow, and children across this city will be in schools tomorrow. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that our young people are safe. But we're also going to make sure that we bring these individuals to justice. We're also going to make sure that we get at the root cause of this violence. Because until we do that, we will never be satisfied. We will never be satisfied until the very neighborhoods where violence is most likely to take place. We won't be satisfied until we're fully invested in those communities. And as a parent, again, my heart is heavy. I have three. That's going to take all of us. And I'm committed to leading that.
Considering that this happened near a school, just like the previous incident, is there going to be something done in terms of police strategy surrounding the schools and the students get out of school?
Well, what I can tell you is this. In the past, with schools where we know we've had volatile incidents, we made sure we had special attention around those schools. We're going to have special attention around all the schools. So across the districts, across the entire city, we'll make sure that we have a police presence at dismissal and the time that students are arriving at school.
Last question.
Is there a connection between this week incident and this incident outside of the other similarities in time and place? And can you confirm if the kids are students from SEN?
So, good question, because I knew that would probably come up. Right now, there is no evidence that these two shootings are connected. No evidence that they're connected. So we want to put that to rest. Yes, these students have been confirmed as students who attend SEN High School. I'd like to say this in furtherance. We're seeing these brazen acts of violence against young people, against innocent bystanders, against innocent people, people on their way to work. We see it through shootings, robberies. It is important that we understand that people who are acting out violently in our city and committing violent acts against our citizens here in this city have to be held accountable. We have to hold them accountable. If we're not holding them accountable, especially with this level of brazenness, they will continue to do it. Now, I'll tell you this right now, Chicago Police Department, myself, we're committed to making sure that we get to the bottom of these types of crimes and that we take these people into custody. We will be holding them accountable. And it's important, as the mayor talked about everyone getting involved, we all need to hold these violent criminals accountable for their actions. What we have to start thinking about are the victims in this situation, because when someone is shot and when someone is killed, it doesn't just affect that particular victim. It has a ripple effect. Their families, their family members. It leads into fear for our residents. We have to push back against this type of violence, this type of brazenness. We have to protect our children. We have to protect the innocent here. So we will hold violent criminals accountable. I can promise you that.
Thank you.
Is there any vehicle you're looking for in particular? We heard a white Prius.
Area detectives are still working. It's still very early in the
Okay.
investigation,
Nothing
so they're
else.
still processing the scene, actually.
Okay.
So they're conducting interviews with witnesses, and hopefully there may be some